All right. Welcome to another episode of The Next Left Turn. I am your host with the most, Aaron the Cast Man. Do it for Dale. So tonight we have a Wood Brothers victory. Josh Berry gets his first win in Las Vegas for the Wood Brothers. Now, there was a guy who said that he was going to be good. I mean, I don't want to point any fingers, but I'm pretty sure Dale Earnhardt Jr. said that he was going to be a Cup champion ever since he came on to him. So I'm just gonna put that out there. So good for Josh Berry getting that W today. And we're gonna talk a little bit about this race. I thought it was a pretty good race. There was definitely a lot of things going on with I guess penalties going into the pit, coming off the pit. There's a lot of speeding penalties going on. So that was a little bit of a concern going into today. So I was a little surprised that was happening. Also, too, a lot of tires coming off. A lot of tires are coming off today. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they're having some tire trouble out there in Vegas. But further ado, let's go into stage one real quick. All right. So in stage one, obviously, we had a lot going on here. Joey Logano starting it off. And, of course, Michael McDowell starting it off right there in the first heat. So Michael McDowell, I think he led like one lap. He won one lap in stage one, whereas Joey Logano pretty much took over in like 30 laps. And if anyone didn't watch the preview, Josh Edwards had Joey Logano winning it. I had Las Vegas's Kyle Busch. We'll talk about him in a little bit later. So I was a little perturbed that Joey Logano was leading already. And I was like, come on. And he said, I need Kyle Busch to do good. But anyways, so that was going on for a little bit. Joey Logano just took control of everything that he needed to in that first stage. I think he was leading at least 20 to 22 stages at that time. And then we get our first caution of the day, which happened in lap 34. Chase Briscoe, who's what I'll talk about with the tire problems earlier today in the show, has a little setback. His left rear tire while pitting triggered a caution flag. So it basically just came off and started rolling over to the pits. So he had to get that figured out. That was the first caution of the night. Wouldn't be the last one. I believe there was 9 cautions tonight. So that was just one of many. So also too, Kyle Busch, he had a caution too. I believe it was lap 36, I believe it was. So that one was interesting. And I don't understand what happened with Kyle Busch because he had to sit out for a little bit while that caution was being underway. So that was just interesting that was going down. So I don't know. It was just weird for NASCAR to do that. But Chase Briscoe also had a 2-lap penalty just for losing that wheel in that caution. So that was interesting too. What happened with Chase Briscoe in the 19 car. So, I mean, I didn't realize that was a rule in Vegas. We leave it off that. But anywho, so obviously was pretty much going down after that. A lot of drivers are coming into the one spot during it. Just a lot of good pits, got a lot of good strategies going on. And I believe Austin Cindric started leading a little bit once we get closer to the end of the first stage. I think he took over around lap 68. So that was good for Austin Cindric and the Penske cars because, of course, they just want to be dominant the last 2 races. So that was interesting. And then, if I'm correct on this one, we had a few things that were going on. So a few of the Hendrick cars were a little bit low, a.k.a. Kyle Larson. So around the point of around like lap 80, Kyle Larson started coming in and make the top 5. So that was good for Kyle Larson and Hendricks because Hendricks actually is really dominant here at Vegas. So that was going on there. And lo and behold, though, Austin Cindric takes the first stage in the NASCAR. So with him coming in the first stage, if my computer wants to work, I'll tell you who the top 10 were. Because as much as I'm good at NASCAR, I don't remember the top 10s. So what we have here is Austin Cindric won the stage, followed by Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Bubba in the top 5. He's been interesting this year. Bubba Wallace, I feel like, is doing a pretty good job this year. I think he's also racing like his life depended on it. So he's winning a lot of stage points with 23-11. So, I mean, it's good for him that he's doing it. Kyle Larson at number 5, AJ Allmendinger 6, Logano is 7, and Josh Berry is legging in the top 10 here in stage 1 at 8. Carson Hocevar at 9, Christopher Bell at 10. So that was pretty much it for stage 1 going into it. Just a few things. There's a lot of speeding penalties we're going about. Chase Elliott was one of them. He sped into pit lane, so he had to become a lap down. Denny Hamlin had a speeding penalty, which is a little bit odd for Denny Hamlin. I'm not really sure what's been going on with him lately, but it just seems like he's had some just boneheaded penalties like that. Ryan Blaney had a penalty, I believe, because of his tires. I could be wrong on that. But I just remember that he had, I think, a 2-lap penalty with, I believe, speeding in the pits and in the tires. So that was going down. So there's a lot of speeding penalties that were happening. Obviously, Penske's doing pretty well right now in the top 10, as you could tell. I mean, even though Josh Berry is with the Wood brothers, are just a component of Penske. That's all they really are. They're a Ford car, but they're pretty much under Penske. So Penske and Hendrick kind of dominating right now in the first stage. I think that's pretty much it that went on in the first. So we'll just talk a little bit about the second stage going into it. All right. So we're going on to the second stage here. And a lot of things were going down. Still some tire problems. Just trying to see if there's anything that I forgot in the second stage. I don't think so. Actually, there was something that I forgot in the second stage. So Kyle Busch, who I picked, Las Vegas native, has some tire problems going into it. So I'm going to see if I can get this up for you guys, because this was interesting because his tire pretty much came off, had to go back into the shop. I believe he was in there for a good 20 minutes of what was going down. So he was down at least 34 laps at one point. Good for him, though, to come back. But here it is right here. As you can see right here, hits right into the wall. Boop. Kyle Busch's tire comes right off. I mean, he's just having a bad time. He's just having a bad time this year. And it's funny that he's in Vegas with the BetMGM logo paint scheme. So good for him on that. But yeah, I think this is it. Pretty much going to be it for Kyle Larson and RCR. I'm sorry, Kyle Busch. I don't know why I said Kyle Larson, but yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for Kyle Busch and RCR, because no matter what he's doing, it's just not working. And I feel like it's just really frustrating for him. He was at one point top 5 going on today, and that just disappeared quickly. He finished in the mid 30s or early 30s just because of what was going down. But yeah, so that's what happened in the second stage. There's a lot of cautions going on there. I'm just trying to remember if there's any other ones. I don't think there was any other cautions. Nah, everything else was pretty much smooth. I know Shane Van Gisbergen, his tire came off, so that'd be a caution on that, just hitting into the turn 2 back tire, or no, sorry, front rear tire busted up. So obviously that's some bad news there for Shane Van Gisbergen. He's having a pretty rough season, but we all know he's just there for the road courses. He was pretty good in COTA, so I'm not really too concerned about him going on that. But the Hendrick team, I know, was starting to move up a lot. So 3 out of the 4 drivers were moving up off one of the, I believe it was the Kyle Busch reset for the caution. Kyle Larson moved up 17 spots. Chase Elliott moved up 15 spots to get into the top 5. So obviously that's good for them. Tyler Reddick actually had a pretty good day too. As much as I'm talking about the Hendrick cars, he had a pretty good race as well. Just trying to remember after the Kyle Busch, Cody Ware, he had a little spin, so he hit into the turn and his tire popped coincidentally. So that brought out the caution flag. And also what happened was Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs, yeah, he's been having a really bad year this year so far. And it's been so bad he put himself backwards in his pit stop. Now I have no idea how you do that. And apparently from Larry McReynolds, it is legal that you can do that as long as you're in your pit box. So that's just how Ty Gibbs season is just summing up right here. Pretty much just going backwards of what was going on. So let's see if I remember anything in here. Pretty much there was 200 boys coming in the second stage. Kyle Larson and William Byron were fighting each other with Ross Chastain for first to win the second stage. Coincidentally, Kyle Larson went into a three car wide in order to obtain first, and he did. He won the stage in stage 2. So let's see here. So in stage 2, Kyle Larson is your winner, followed by William Byron, Ross Chastain, Bubba again fourth. As I'm saying, Bubba Wallace is racing for his life here this season, and he's been doing a pretty good job. He again picking up the points that he needs to for the regular season. He's doing a pretty good job. So hats off to Bubba Wallace. 5, Carson Hocevar. 6, Ryan Blaney. 7, Daniel Suarez. 8, Josh Berry. Again, in the top 10, Josh Berry. Now, obviously, we all know that he won and took the trophy here in Vegas, but I think with Josh Berry in the 21 car, it just proves that he is a good driver no matter the number. And I feel like Harrison Burton just wasn't it for the 21 car. I mean, we can all finally say that Josh Berry is a competent driver and obviously wins with the Wood Brothers, but when he was with the 4 car last year for Stewart-Haas, I really didn't think he did that bad of a job. So this is just proving that Josh Berry can be a good NASCAR Cup driver. As here you can see with the win, 2 top 10 in the points for each stage. And even not just Vegas, though. The other tracks that he's been on this season, I feel like he's been doing pretty good. I think he had 1 or 2 mishaps that led to him with either a do not finish or just really low bottom 30s. But this is just proving that he's been a pretty good driver this season. I think that the Wood Brothers have a good, competent driver this year. But Tyler Reddick and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wrap it up for the top 10 here in stage 2. And then we get into stage 3, and this is where the fun begins. All right, so we are in stage 3 here, and I believe Daniel Suarez moves into second place here. And this is where I was talking about too with the Cody Ware tire. So I apologize if I'm all over the place. Just so much going on in this race. Just trying to think what happened here. So after that, I believe a caution comes out, and this is the one where Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Spins to the inside, and I believe this was the Noah Gragson, Ryan Blaney situation here. I believe that was lap 195. So pretty much Ryan Blaney gets kind of like stuck where Carson Hocevar is, and I'm trying to think who he was in. I know it was the Dasani car. So that kind of got a little bit tracked up here. So then Ryan Blaney hits into the Dasani, which kind of leads into like a big caution here with Ricky Stenhouse and all that. Bubba Wallace, though, surprisingly did not really get hit that bad because it looked like he kind of like stopped when he needed to and then just kept going on. So I know Austin Dillon got some wreckage on there because he was down in the 30s too, or didn't finish actually. I don't think he finished. But Ryan Blaney's day is pretty much done, and he's actually on a pretty good hot streak. He was moving up fast up in the polls um, to get up there into the position. So just a bad day for Ryan Blaney, but I mean it is what it is. Pretty good pit strategies going on. I know Tyler Reddick won off the pit, so he was the winner coming off of pit road, so he was leading it. This is where Shane Van Gisbergen, though. This is where I was talking about his penalty because again, a lot of tire mishaps were happening today. So I don't know if it was just the crew chiefs, if it was the rubber on the wheels, or just the gravel going on in Vegas, but it just seemed like a lot of tires were coming off Shane Van Gisbergen's. He makes contact with the wall. He keeps going though, because this was after he already had his incident with his tires. So that was just interesting that the tires were just getting beat up just a little bit too fast. So that one was interesting. Daniel Suarez was having a pretty good day too. I felt like he was doing well. Just racing, obviously what happened last week. I feel like he just needed a little bit of revenge, and we'll talk about him a little bit later too, because this is where everything kind of happens. So don't see much of Joey Logano or any kind of top person like that. I think Joey Logano was messing around in like the 20s, like the early 20s. So he's just kind of moving his way back up. And then I'll show you this one because Noah Gragson here started it with a caution. I believe it was lap 243. So I'm going to put that on here right now. So this one, like I said, this tire problem's going on. So I wasn't sure what exactly was going on here, but we got Noah Gragson. He'll let me messing up on the tire here. Goes right into the wall, messes everything up on lap 243. Right there. It's right in that wall. You can see right there, tire's gone. Yep. I mean, Mike Joy says it well. Everyone either had speeding penalties, they're shredding up on the wall, or just their tires are just gone. So this is just an interesting race for just tire consumption and the way you pit. And I think that was a pretty good strategy. Also, too, what happened? This is why I was a little concerned with Joel Logano today, even though he was in the 20s. He experiences a slow stop due to a poor angle into his pit stall. I don't really understand that since Ty Gibbs literally went backwards into his stall, but you're going to put Joey Logano there for a pit penalty. So that one was just interesting. I didn't quite get that. So I believe at lap 251, this is where we have Daniel Suarez, Josh Berry. This is why I said we were going to talk about Daniel Suarez a little bit later. So Daniel Suarez and Josh Berry get into it right off the restart. I believe Josh Berry took the outside while Daniel Suarez took the inside. 16 laps to go. All right. So Daniel Suarez is battling with Josh Berry here. They're fighting a little bit. Josh Berry gets on the inside of Daniel Suarez somehow. And who else but William Byron is coming up? He's going into the third spot. I believe it was Ross Chastain that he was trying to beat out. And we saw this in COTA. We saw this in COTA 2 weeks ago. That William Byron was trying to win that race, and this is what exactly what he's going to do. He's going to wait for someone to make a mistake, sit in that third spot, and come aggressively in there to win it for Vegas. So that's what I was kind of expecting because Hendrick is unanimously good at Vegas. I believe the last 3 races besides Joey Logano was Kyle Larson twice. So that I was expecting a Hendrick car to finish in the top 3, top 2, even winning it. And once I saw William Byron was right there, I was like, all right, so this is pretty much over. It's going to be a Hendrick guy. But not the case because Josh Berry passes Daniel Suarez, has at least a 20-second lead on Daniel Suarez with, I think, 12 laps to go. Okay. Then pretty much by 8 laps to go, they're about 46 seconds in that he had a lead over, which went into a minute 30 seconds over Daniel Suarez and making Josh Berry the winner chicken dinner of Vegas. Hats off to Josh Berry in the 21 car. Obviously, he doesn't do any smoke or any burnouts, which was quite interesting. I didn't expect that to happen, that he wasn't going to get any do any burnouts. So Kevin Harvick's podcast are probably going to talk about that he should have did something, but that's okay that he didn't. But yeah, I mean, Josh Berry's definitely turning into his own. I know he's 34 years old, but I will show you a clip here with 2 laps to go into the final lap of what happened with Josh Berry getting the victory. But yeah, I just felt like Josh Berry was doing a pretty good job here, and I think he's going to be a good racer with the 21 car, especially since they're partners with Penske, and I think that's exactly what Josh Berry needed. I mean, there's no hard feelings towards Stewart-Haas Racing, but I just felt like once they knew they were going to pack it up, they just didn't really care anymore. Plus, two, Josh Berry learned from Rodney Childress, who's a great NASCAR legend in itself. He helped out Kevin Harvick. But here we go here with 2 laps to go. And as you can see here, Josh Berry just leading it up. Won it pretty comfortably, might I add. So, yeah. So, going forward here, I think Josh Berry will probably get another win or two. I know Miami's coming up, but just to finish off the race here, the results, we had Josh Berry leading it. If it'll let me show it, obviously, Daniel Suarez second, Ryan Preece third, William Byron fourth, Ross Chastain fifth, Austin Cindric sixth, Alex Bowman seventh, AJ Allmendinger eighth, Kyle Larson ninth, Chase Elliott 10th. I'll round it out to at least the top 20. Brad Keselowski 11th. Good for Brad Keselowski, by the way. He was kind of just creeping around. He was just there. Nothing too fancy from him. I respect that he got a top 11 finish, so that's good for him. They really needed that, RFK. Christopher Bell, he had a little bit of problems of his own with his car, but nothing egregious. His streak comes to an end. I actually think that's pretty good for Christopher Bell. I don't think that I think if he kept winning, especially now, it's only the beginning of the season, I think he won't have as much momentum when the playoffs start as if he would right now. So that's good for him. He just needed that humbling right there. So he finished 12th, Chris Buescher 13th, Justin Haley 14th. Joey Logano, again, not a top 10 finish from a defending champion that makes 5 races at 15. Michael McDowell, the pole sitter who won for Vegas, is in 16th. Chase Briscoe 17th. Ricky Stenhouse 18th. Riley Herbst, another 23-11 guy, 19th. And the Backstreet Boys himself, John Hunter Nemechek, finishing the top 20. So I thought it was a really good race. It was just a lot of tire problems going on. There's a lot of cautions for speeding or either pulling out too fast in the pits or pulling into the pits too fast. So I thought that was an issue there. Other than that, though, some really great racing. Again, hats off to Josh Berry and the 21 Wood Brothers. Next week is Miami Homestead. So that's going to be an interesting one. I'm curious who's going to win that race. It could be Ryan Blaney's to lose, in all honesty, especially what happened last year, Miami Homestead. So maybe we can see a Ryan Blaney victory, or who knows? Maybe we might get another sleeper. Listen, the sleeper I picked today was Josh Berry, and he won. So finally, I get the victory. I am not the kiss of death when it comes to picks. Hopefully, the sun rises on my empire with picking more throughout the season. So yeah, unfortunately, you guys dealt with me for for this show, but don't worry. Next week Next week will be Josh Edwards, and then after that, going forward, will be the both of us. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit the bell button, so that way when the show comes on, you hear a little ding, and that way it helps us support Variety Sports Network. Got a lot of things going on this week. We just did a 5-hole episode. Go check that out right now. That's out and about. Getting ready for the playoffs. All the playoffs that you need for the NHL. We were discussing it today. Also up this week is a 7th inning stretch. That should be on Thursday, either Wednesday or Thursday. So look out for that, which is, again, why you should subscribe. Like this video, like all the videos, help out Variety Sports Network out. Fast Break should be on, I believe they do it on Mondays or Tuesdays. Check that out as well. Very good stuff going on here at Variety Sports Network. And that's it for today. That's all I have. Again, kudos to Josh Berry in the 21 car. They definitely won and did it cleanly, as everyone likes to say. I thought that was a pretty clean race from 16 laps to go on. So hats off to Josh Berry and the Wood Brothers again. And yeah, that's been another episode of The Next Left Turn. We will see you when we see you. Peace.